Hi guys, Clinton Norris here, and we have Hannah for California Dreamin', and we took a little bit of a diagonal back section on each side at the parietal ridge just to separate off this lower portion because we're going to create a little bit of a shorter shape. Now my first section is a vertical section from the crown down to the bottom hairline, and as you can tell I cut a little bit of a flat layer from that peak in the back all the way down to the nape area. As I got under the occipital, I started to follow the head shape just so it tucked in a little bit tighter, just based on the fact that she has a great amount of hair.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite parts, is following that head shape when it really starts to curve down at the bottom where it meets the neck. I think that's just going to allow that haircut to just melt around the shape of her head. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely, and you can tell I left a little bit of length at the top with that flat layer. I think a lot of the times when we're working on a shorter shape, we tend to kind of curve and round everything off, and we automatically think that a corner is a bad thing. But actually leaving that corner up top allows us for style options, and it doesn't actually flatten out that crown as much as we would if we were to follow the head shape during the crown area.
Yeah, I think that's really important, is to look at like where you place your corners. It's just a buildup of length and weight, and you're compensating for the roundness of the head, so allowing that corner to form is just giving you more options, as you said, later on.
Absolutely. And then still working through vertically, I'm not utilizing any over direction, so I'm not pulling the hair backwards or forwards away from its natural fall, just so it creates a balance from the back to the very front of the bone structure. The only slight adjustment I am going to make in over direction is here at this front hairline. Still working completely vertical, and then I'm going to scoop this front hairline back just to create a little extra length around the front. Now working through horizontally just to check my shape and make sure that I didn't have any over direction, and just to adjust any little bits of movement that I could have had through the shape horizontally.
Yeah, the cross check's crucial, just to make sure that everything's in line and you made the right decisions all the way through that side of the haircut.
Right. Side number 2 here, still working with a vertical section, following the head shape underneath the occipital bone, and then making a flat layer up through the crown area. This right side tends to be, the difficult side, and our elbows up in the air now, and the scissors are kind of running into the shoulder. And main things to think about is that I'm just trusting the process. Same sectioning, still a lack of over direction, and just letting the mechanics work the shape in.
And I think that's really important, because now you've switched your hand position. So on the right side of the head, now your fingertips are pointed down and you're cutting uphill. So it's a little bit of a difference compared to the first side, just being mindful of how those fingers tuck in as you get to that curvature of the head. But I think it's looking great.
Absolutely. And still mirroring the same thing on both sides, creating a symmetry without any over direction, and then again scooping that front hairline back. Now through the very top zone here, I took a section or a panel from parietal to parietal just to separate again the crown a little bit more. Isolating that and allowing that flat layer to continue through the crown again leaves me some of that length for style options. We want this to be something that's very useful and functional, and leaving that length in the crown will allow for the guest to have more style options, and create a little bit more movement because of the length. And as you can tell, Hannah has a good amount of hair, and that curl starts to come alive, so I don't want any of that to spring up or kind of give me any kind of surprises to the crown.
Yeah, and I think making the right decision is so important, because as you mentioned, when you drop down her hair the longer lengths, you can see a little bit of that texture kind of spring back. And making the right decision to leave long hair where you want it, I think, is crucial for the end result.
Absolutely. Here you can see at the corners of this panel, I'm utilizing a little bit of backwards over direction just to ensure that we have a little more length up top. Again, now I'm taking a horizontal section from parietal to parietal. I'm elevating that straight up to the ceiling and cutting completely flat. This is going to, again, like I talked about in the crown, leave me some length and weight towards the corners of the bone structure. Again, leaving me options, leaving Hannah options when she decides to style her own hair. So a little more movement and a little more length in those areas where we tend to make them a little bit too curvy, I believe, vertically.
I think what I appreciate most is just your attention to detail and your dedication to discipline, because working in small sections, getting through that amount of hair is crucial. And I think a lot of hairdressers have a tendency to just do a lot of condensed cutting, but there's a certain appreciation through the process of how you're working.
Absolutely. And that's been the key to managing hair, and taking this larger density guests and allowing to still be clean. Here at the front hairline, just over directing that backwards like I did on the side, just to make sure we preserve the length through the front area. And then here's her end result in her little wet shape with a longer length towards the front.
That looks great. What a transformation from before and after.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lucas.